Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Hidizs S9 Pro Plus, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Hidizs for providing the S9 Pro Plus for review. Do greatly appreciate it. Hidizs, you rock. Alright, so the Hidizs S9 Pro Plus. This will set you back $89 from your bank account. It is a USB-C DAC amp dongle. Comes in this black box and it has a high-res sticker. It's gotta sound good. So you get a picture here on the front and some specs on the back. Taking off that sleeve and you're greeted by a black box with some more branding on it. Take off that lid and you have your device. Comes in several different colors, which are black, silver, and blue. We have the blue one in for review. Has a metal design, small, nice and lightweight. On the top you have a 4.4 balanced output, 3.5 single-ended output. On the one side you have some function buttons, and then on the bottom you have a USB-C input. Hidizs does provide a USB-C cable. One end has the logo, one does not. Take the end that has the logo, plug that into your source, and plug the non-branded end into your dongle, and it'll work. I found that if I did not have it connected that way, for whatever reason, it would be hit or miss whether it would connect. Alright, so the device itself, very well built. On the top here you have a logo, which also is a RGB light, which will show different settings as far as bit rates and filters. Now the bit rates that it'll do PCM up to 32768 and native DSD up to 512. No MQA on the S9 Pro Plus. Filters. It has several different filters as well. It has a anodizing fast roll-off filter, which is the default filter. You cannot turn off the filters on the S9 Pro Plus. It also has a linear phase fast roll-off, linear phase slow roll-off, minimum phase fast roll-off, minimum phase slow roll-off, and a hybrid fast roll-off. So this little logo will change colors. So bit rates will change in different colors from yellow and purple, which will be your various DSDs, and then blue, red, white, and green, which will be your PCM. And then the filters, you select both buttons simultaneously and it'll filter through the different filters, and it'll flash different colors for the filters. Filters were kind of hard to tell differences. There are differences between them, but it's very subtle, kind of dependent on how well of resolving and how detailed the IEM that I was using is and what tracks it was. But every now and then I heard some differences. The S9 Pro Plus has a ES9038Q2M DAC chip in it, and power output on single-ended is 138 milliwatts at 32 ohm and 180 milliwatts at 32 ohm on balanced 4.4. So it has pretty good power for a dongle. Like the look of it. It's nice and light, nice and small, feels durable, not going to take up much room in your pocket or laying next to you on your desk or a table or anything like that. The S9 Pro Plus is able to drive pretty much any IEM. I had no problems with all the IEMs in my collection. It drove them all very well, including the harder to drive planars. Had no issues whatsoever, especially using it on the balanced. I also did not have any problems with hissing or any type of issues with output impedance with any of my IEMs, even the super sensitive ones. Headphone wise, was not as good with the S9 Pro Plus. It would power some over-ear headphones, especially the more easy to drive ones. But if you're going to try to drive some planars or something like that, forget it. It's not going to do it. Might get it up to volume, but it's not going to sound very good. I found that the S9 Pro Plus is okay with some over-ear headphones, but not really. It's not really its purpose. It's for an IEM. So the S9 Pro Plus, how does it sound? It has a sound signature that is leaning towards analytical. It can come across as a little bit dry and a little bit on the sterile and pushed side of things, especially in the presentation areas. Upper mids, lower treble region is elevated just a little bit. The bass of the S9 Pro Plus has a nice extension into the sub bass, and you get some nice rumble and grumble. There's good texture, and it has enough authority to kind of drive things home, but it isn't a really super hard hitting bass, but it has enough to keep the toes tapping and the hands moving, and it's going to drive things in a more neutral, analytical way. And it is somewhat of a linear bass with some pop, some punch, some slam, and a little bit of authority. Overall, details and resolution is good, and the S9 Pro Plus is more about the quality than the quantity. The mids. The mids have a nice linear approach to things until you get to the upper mids. Around 3 to 4K, it'll start to elevate just a little bit, and there'll be a little bit more of an emphasis in the upper mids going into the lower treble region. Not to the point where it's shouting at you and putting a big forthright emphasis in the mids, but there is a little bit of a more noticeable approach to the higher reaches of the mids. Doesn't throw off any of the cohesion of it or balance of it. It still sounds very even, but it is slightly noticeable in that it is at times a little bit fatiguing. The mids have good details and nice resolution, good space, and overall they have a nice natural sound signature, and they have a like the bass, a little bit more of a neutral approach to things, and can sound just a little bit on the dry side. Then going into the treble, the lower treble is emphasized just a little bit, is a little bit more elevated, and you're going to get a little bit more sparkle and energy, and then it extends nicely into the upper treble. You have nice air, good space, and overall it's just a very pleasurable treble with just a tad touch of a little bit of sizzle. And it doesn't get fatiguing, but it's borderline. That lower mid, or excuse me, that lower treble region going into the merging with the mids can be a little bit expressive, and if you're sensitive in that area, it may be just a twinge too much. Soundstage of the S9 Pro is S9 Pro Plus is good. I find that it has a accurate representation of width, and it shows differences in sizes of venues very well. If it's something small and intimate, you're going to know it. If it's something wide, you're going to know it. It also does a good job with depth. You can really look into a stage and you can read into it and see things in front and behind each other. Placement of things and tracking things across the stage also does very well from right to left and left to right. Does a very good job. Nothing merges together or melds together. It all stays separated and does a very good job of transitioning and moving and tracking. Tone and timbre is very good on the S9 Pro. It is slightly elevated in the upper mids and lower treble region, which at times can just put a little bit too much of an emphasis on instruments like woodwinds, brass, pianos, sometimes strings, and a couple other more like percussion instruments can sound just a little bit tizzy, but they don't sound unnatural. They just sound like they have a little bit too much excitement going on. Detail retrieval and resolution is phenomenal. I was really impressed with the details of the S9 Pro Plus and the way that it resolved it. It is one of the best sounding dongles I've heard in its price point, and it does a very good job of giving you all the information in a track and then resolving it very well, even if it is just a little bit pushed and a little bit forced upon you. How does the S9 Pro Plus compare to a couple of its siblings? So you have the original S9 Pro. Now, the original S9 Pro is more sterile and a little bit more cold sounding, and also has a little bit thinner note weight. It is not as natural sounding as the S9 Pro Plus, and the S9 Pro is a little bit more fatiguing. It does have a little bit more power out of its balanced output, not as much on its single-ended. The S9 Pro is also not quite as detailed, and it's not as good resolving as the S9 Pro Plus. And then you have the XO, and the Hidizs XO has a little bit more of a warm, natural sound signature. The XO has a little bit more body throughout, but is not as wide in its sound stage and is not as good at details, even though it is about the same on resolution. The XO is more natural in its tone and timbre, and it just sounds a little bit more pleasurable. It's not as forward in its presentation. It's not as analytical. So the Hidizs S9 Pro Plus, yeah, I like this. It's a good little device and it has plenty of power for all the IEMs that you want to drive with it. And it's okay for headphones on the go. I find that the Hidizs S9 Pro Plus is a good upgrade to the original S9 Pro, and it's a different listen compared to the XO. So the Hidizs S9 Pro Plus, yeah, I recommend this. And I think it's a very good dongle for its price tag. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next videos, somewhere on screen, subscription links, and notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and check out all the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you contact channel, file channel, support channel, all that kind of stuff is listed down below. Speaking of supporting the channel, there's all kinds of ways that you can do that through PayPal and Venmo for one-time gifts, or through Patreon, YouTube memberships for monthly subscriptions. Along with that comes various benefits like access to my private Discord server and other things. You can also buy me a cup of coffee if you want. And I want to thank my current supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you very much for all that you provide to the channel. It's much appreciated. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, it'd be greatly appreciated as well. Check out all the other links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you contact channel, file channel, support channel, all that kind of stuff, along with gear rankings and tier rankings and music links and gear recommendations, all kinds of stuff. So check out the links down below. And lastly, don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.